goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
Thanks for having us. This is a very cool show.
Yeah, so through many iterations, and we finally landed on the weirdest one by far.
Yeah, simple feelings, and boom, you got a sound.
I remember this one time. I had been writing some songs, and I went out. I'm just going right in on this story. I went out, and so I was.
The story's longer than the song itself. We'll go ahead and play it.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band. Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Tonight, we learn about the wonderful organization Accessible Festivals as we spend time with Executive Director Amy Pinder. Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Good evening, everyone. Hello, David. How are you?
Hello, Philip. How are you?
This is your next favorite band. I am your host, Philip Reese.
And I am your co-host, David Moore. We did that a totally different way this time.
I did. I my brain kind of splits in 30. And I guess tonight we have your next favorite nonprofit.
I think it's your next favorite place, organization that would help you find a place to see your next favorite band.
That does not roll off the tongue, though.
No, it's a very long title.
And sometimes we use the acronym. That would be a really, really long acronym.
I mean, it could be fun. Who knows? Maybe we can make it spell a word and it becomes the next scuba.
Right, or KMFDM.
Right, that works too.
Probably also as ponderous as the one we just invented. But anyway, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you? Now that we are settling into the autumn, though oddly, we just came out of a weekend where it was 75 degrees, or 2 days ago.
Brutal. I was not here. I was celebrating my mom's 80th birthday.
That's lovely.
And we were down in, I think it might have been cooler where we were in Charleston, South Carolina than it was up here.
That makes, sure.
Right,
that's what I got at this point in time.
The planet's not messed up or anything.
No one did that.
Speaking of that, I voted.
I don't. Mine's on my jacket, which is downstairs, but I did vote. I have a photo if we need verification of me outside of a replica log cabin where I voted today.
A replica log cabin?
Correct. My polling place is a replica log cabin.
That's pretty badass. I gotta be honest with you.
It made a list, like I want to say 2012. That I could be wrong on what year it was, but it was like, unusual places that you can vote. Outside of the public school or community center, or that are, I think, pretty typical.
Out front, it has a sign. I think it's it's like a home of hope or something like that. Which I guess that's a very encouraging place to go vote.
I hope so.
There you go.
See what I did there?
Just nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. So David's on fire today.
Oh, wait for the sports references.
Sports metaphors are going to be abounding. But anyway, and we also got all banged up by the time change, which apparently is bad for your health. That's the first time I ever read articles about that one. But
well, I'm shocked that you said that. Yeah, I've always had issues with the time change. I don't care which one they pick. Just pick one. I don't care if you want to leave it forward. I don't care if you want to leave it back. Just don't stop changing it. So I will tell you a fun side story. When I had a job in college, I was a movie theater projectionist at a place that served alcohol. Mm-hmm. Last call was at 2 a.m.
Right.
They'd wait an hour. It became 2 a.m. a second time.
Right.
There was a second last call.
Second last call.
Yep.
That's a good thing.
It's a good name for a bar, I think.
Second last call.
Yeah.
Well, you're the liquor liability insurance will probably be through the roof though for that.
Yeah,
one.
Well, I mean, that's a different question.
For a different day. So on this day though,
yeah,
we kind of we kind of did a little bit of a spoiler alert by saying it's actually your next favorite nonprofit. Tonight we do not have a musician on, but one
Correct.
thing that we're going to try and do for this show to kind of give it some variety and change things up a bit is we're going to try and bring on. The goal is monthly. If that happens, that would be great. Sometimes, obviously, scheduling just happens, and it just won't. We're not going to force it, but we're going to try and bring on regularly. We've been using the phrase music adjacent, but organizations or individuals who are maybe not necessarily a musician, but somehow either supportive of the music industry or people who want to go enjoy festivals, which is what tonight's about. And just simply see how that goes, because I think it would be nice to have the variety. So tonight we have an organization called Accessible Festivals. You heard it in the open. And they, in addition to helping other festivals, which is what we'll get into, they do their own festival called the Inclusion Festival.
Correct.
And the kind of summary of it from this past year, 2022, is a nice little video they threw together. So we're going to do that and kind of share the bio, and then we'll bring on their executive director, Amy Pinder.
I feel honored to be included in the Inclusion Fest, and I love the idea of living in a world where everybody feels included, including you.
I just want to see you be everything you dream you'd be. I just want to see you be everything you ever dream you'd be. Just shine.
Accessible Festivals is a non-profit organization dedicated to making live music and recreational events fully accessible for people of all abilities. Accessible Festivals' mission is to foster connection and understanding through the universal language of music, to provide a platform where people of all abilities and identities can connect and build relationships, and to inspire the creation of safe, inclusive, and equitable communities. Tonight, we're joined by Amy Pinder, Executive Director of Accessible Festivals, and the co-founder of Inclusion Festival, and a speech language therapist.
So for those of you who might be just listening to the audio version of this on the podcast, basically the images here are just wonderful, sharing of what a festival could be for people who want to be there, but may have just additional needs or things to be factored into their ability to enjoy. So if you get a chance, definitely check out that video. It's on their YouTube page, and or you could, check it out on our YouTube version of this interview. But let's welcome to the show, Amy Pinder.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining. And you were the co-founder of the Inclusion Festival. So that's pretty, exciting to see that continue to take off, I would imagine.
Yeah, it really is. It's been a true labor of love and a vision that I happened to share with my co-founder long before we met. So Leah Barron and I met at a music festival, and we realized that we had the same dream kind of brewing. I'm a speech language therapist. I work primarily with children and adults who are autistic. And Leah was a special education teacher at the time that we met. Now she teaches special needs yoga and does a lot of work with accessible festivals. But we, through the experiences we were having with our students, with our clients, and parallel going to music events and festivals ourselves, we felt like there was just so much opportunity for people with disabilities to learn and grow and feel free and welcome in that space. And we felt like that was an opportunity we wanted to create. And so eventually, long story short, we decided to do that together. We're doing it.
Yeah, you certainly are. And like, if you just listen to the words that are being used, like safe, equitable, enjoy, like, how could you have anything but complete and utter, just not only just respect and admiration for what you're doing, but to support it in any way that you can. Like, there's no reason why anybody should stand in the way of an effort that would bring those words to the table for all people who want to be there.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what we believe.
And so where did maybe the Inclusion Festival and Accessible Festivals, like, did those happen at the same time? Was there like one before the other?
So that's another parallel story. Leah and I met.
We like stories, so pull up a
Leanna
chair
and
and
I will share.
yeah.
We decided to start on this project of creating an inclusive festival. And in doing so, we were trying to figure out how to make it happen, how to finance it, just so many questions. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was doing research and I wanted to know if anyone else had ever come up with an idea like this. And actually, I found 2 other inclusive festivals. This was research I was doing in 2017. A couple of more have emerged
Mm-hmm.
since then. But at the time, all I could find was a very special Woodstock in Canada. And I can't remember the name, but there was another festival that I found somewhere in the UK. And I ended up connecting with both of those promoters. And I found accessible festivals through this same research. And
Got it.
that was a nonprofit that had already been founded in 2014 by Austin Whitney and his friend Oren Shani.
Mm-hmm.
They were childhood friends. Austin's story was that he was in a car accident that left him paralyzed when he was 18 years old. And going to a music festival was the first experience that made him smile and made him feel hope for his life again. So he created accessible festivals with the vision of sharing those feelings that he experienced with people of all abilities. And he's doing that. He did that through accessible festivals.
Right.
And he now is the accessibility compliance coordinator director for many, many large festivals and recreational events throughout the country. But as it turns out, business structure, life and learning, it made more sense to make that a separate business. And so then he had accessible festivals and he knew he wanted to continue doing great things with it, but he didn't know exactly what. So when I reached out, it was kind of at this transition and formative time. And so we started talking and we basically eventually just decided to join forces and to use the platforms that we were building to, you know, have
amplify both of them.
that
Yeah.
all shared the same mission. And we're coast to coast. He's in California and we're East Coast. So that was a really nice connection too,
Certainly.
that we get to, you know, affect across the country. And we've figured out ways to do that. It's been a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because obviously it's definitely a great venture to try and create an inclusion festival where it's dedicated to like all of the needs, but it's even that much more powerful to go to all of the existing festivals and just make sure they're inclusive to be able to accommodate people who have those needs so there isn't walls built up or anything like that. So I think that's awesome to have both of those initiatives going on.
Thanks. Yeah, I find that so much of our learning, I think it's essential that we're doing this ourselves. Without the Inclusion Festival that we produce, we wouldn't have the insight and the strategies and the ideas to recommend to other organizations. So that really has been so much growth and really empowering to be able to share what we know and what we've learned by doing with others.
Yeah, because I think, and this may not be, because it wasn't for me, so I'm not saying this any other way other than just there's so many things to factor in. Like for one would be people who have either wheelchair or what have you with those kinds of needs. But then you have people who are like, and we'll get into this a little bit more later because it's something we have the ability to share. But if you're deaf, like to have somebody who can help with sign language to help to understand what words are being sung or what's being spoken, and then autism or the people who need it to be less volume or just simply the too much noise or stimulation. So
sensory friendly.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Thank you. And so all of that, there's probably others that I'm not even touching on, but like this is about a whole lot of different aspects that you're trying to tackle. Because I don't think you would say no to any of them, but it's got to be incredibly intimidating to make sure you're trying to get to all of those different people with needs, but also hopes to join.
Yeah. It was really overwhelming at first. Another anecdote, Leah and I, all of our background is working with autistic people. And so when we created this festival, that was at the forefront of our minds, is we wanted to welcome this to this population that we knew so well and cared about. And then we brainstormed names. We decided on Inclusion Festival. And then we were like, oh my gosh, we have to include everyone. We named it Inclusion Festival. So it wasn't actually the first thought, but it all just fell into place so beautifully. And we had to expand what we know about accommodating people with really diverse needs and backgrounds. And so we've spent time really learning and understanding what accessibility and inclusion means.
Yeah. Oh, it's like I said, it's to me, the more I peeled back the onion on everything that you guys do, I was just like, oh my gosh, what a wonderful group of people. Like,
Well, one of the things that I think about too, when you think about words accessible or inclusion, part of my work professionally involves that in a different way than what you do. But you think about it's an adjective that actually describes just a person. And at the end of the day, it's the person that comes first. And so you think about the things that you're providing for those, which is, I mean, I can wonder if you can speak on this. One of the things I think that's probably very difficult for a lot of these folk is recreation and leisure is something that's probably difficult for them to participate in at a level that probably gives them a sense of joy or relief or whatever it is that they're looking for from it. And I'm presuming your festival obviously would help with that. But I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit, like the mindset that comes with, like, we're building this whole festival for folks with all of these different needs as well to find joy.
Yeah. I'd love to touch on that. I think what you're touching on is the importance of recreation for human happiness and well-being. It really is so critical and often overlooked for people with disabilities, whether it's their care teams or whether it's them themselves are focused so much on the day-to-day and the functional and what has to happen to, just to get through days. So if you're focusing on that, there's not so much opportunity for joy and recreation. And then, when you go, I think when people do start to think about planning a recreational experience, then so much anxiety is common because there's so many unknowns about, will my needs be accommodated,
Sure.
and
Sure.
how is
Yeah.
this going to be successful and possible for me? So by removing those barriers, which is first and foremost providing information, then people can really just relax and have really positive experiences and feel confident exploring more and more and trying new things. That's what we hope that our festival imparts anyway.
For sure. Yeah. And I have I was going to start sharing here some of the websites. We can, because there's two. Accessible Festivals has a separate website from the Inclusion Festival. And so I was going to bring the Inclusion Festival up, since that's kind of what we were just chatting on there, just in case you wanted to point out anything in particular, or even just kind of sharing the site and what it contains for people to be able to go visit on their own kind of time.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Inclusion Festival site is really an overview of the event itself.
Mhm.
And it's where you can find information about the types of programming, the workshops, and the past music lineups right now. There's ways to get involved. We also have a magazine section where we share
Yep.
articles and information, and that that's really the focus of that website, is sharing
Sure.
that whole aspect of our work, the events and programming piece.
Yeah, and then this is probably like where, there's like three different people I hope when we talk about this kind of stuff. One would be if it's something you're looking for, like maybe you haven't been able to go to festivals for these types of needs or concerns, and now you might know that this is there. So now this is where you can go and get additional information about that.
Yes.
Second would be if you're so inspired to want to volunteer and be a part of it, this is now where you can do that kind of stuff. So you can see here, participate, other resources and such. And then lastly, this is why I'm featuring this part here. For those people who want to donate money, like to me, one of the most vital things you do, if you have the means, whether it's a corporation or an individual, is to support organizations like this, simply because, without you can't do all of the services. So those resources and those funds are huge. And so that's what, those, one of those three, if not all three, or what I hope to achieve when we kind of chat about stuff like this. So whether it's the Inclusion Festival or Accessible Festivals or both, hopefully we'd get more people either taking advantage of the services that you guys provide, or just supporting it and making it even, grow and go beyond from what it's already doing.
Thanks so much. It's also helpful and appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually going to bring up, you had sent me kind of like a slide deck of the Accessible Festivals organization. I figured that might help kind of chat about some of the, the different services. And we have some things we want to specifically bring up, but I think they're mentioned, in the document. So I'm trying to just see here. I know there's a way to share entire screen window. That's the one I need. And so unable. Great. So we're not going to do that. I can bring up the Accessible Festivals website. I'm guessing a lot of the same things are there.
Yeah, a lot of the same things are there.
And so,
Accessible Festivals is the parent organization that produces the Inclusion Festival as well as other programs.
so we can start with this awesome picture, which is just amazing.
Music and recreation for all.
And again, if you're listening, it is a gentleman in a wheelchair who's basically crowd surfing, and it's an awesome picture because he is loving life. So this website here, you can obviously see where you can find the different events, and then into impact and what you do. So I figure maybe you tell me, but I was going to jump to the programs section because I think that's
that sounds
probably
perfect.
Yeah. So
Our ticket grant program,
ticket grant program, perfect.
Great.
Yep.
Um,
So it's the Dan Grover Memorial Ticket Grant Program.
You got it.
And it gets involved with some pretty incredible events. I mean, like in here is Bottle Rock in Napa, Lollapalooza, Beyond Wonderland, a bunch of different festivals. So yeah, tell us more about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dan Grover was one of the first in this line of work who was disabled and advocated for disabled people to be included in the music festival scene. And he sadly passed away this year, but not before doing so much important work and leaving such a legacy and impacting so many people's lives positively. So we had this ticket grant program idea for a while, and we kind of had it rolling out slowly, but we decided to name it in Dan's honor and to really step it up a notch. And so we worked really hard to reach out and make connections and use the partnerships really that Austin's been building for all of these years to get these festivals to donate some tickets. And so we're administrating an application process in which people that are disabled can apply to come and go to these festivals with their loved ones for free.
And so people should be highly encouraged to try and take advantages. Like no one should feel like, oh, it's not for me or whatever. Like they should at least submit to see how it works and take advantage of it if they qualify.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
People can apply right here on the website, and
Right.
they can also, let a friend know that they think might also be interested in applying. Sure. And we read and review every single application, and we grant out the tickets to all of these events.
Yep. And I guess another thing is, again, like other festivals who maybe learn about this could give their tickets to the program too, correct? I mean, you don't have to say no to one.
No, we wouldn't say no. We do like to know the festivals and make sure
Sure.
that they have really solid accessibility programs
Of course,
in place.
yeah.
So the
Makes
festivals
sense.
that are on our
Right.
roster have taken a lot of measures and steps over the years to make their events particularly accessible, but we're absolutely open to others who'd like to get involved by
And that
donating to their events.
Yeah, that would probably be good in and of itself. Like if they're interested in being a part of the giving of the tickets, then they're probably going to be also open to being told, well, you need to do this, this, and this. So that would probably be the double win.
Yeah, that would definitely be a double win.
So next, any of these training consultation?
Training.
Sure.
Is
Yeah, I
great.
thought that was pretty interesting too.
So we offer an online customizable training. Sometimes we do in-person trainings as well, but we're able to reach, larger, more far away entities by conducting online training. So we've worked with a production company in the UK. We've worked with really organizations and people from all different fields, from dance teachers and circus arts instructors to local county parks and colleges and organizations interested in making their events more accessible. So our training program is in no way limited to music. That's our passion, and we know a lot about music, but we
Sure.
really know a lot in general about just how to make events and recreational experiences more accessible. So we offer a training program, and we customize it to the needs of each organization. And it's something that we'd really like to do more of. So it's
Absolutely.
an area where we're growing, and we have a lot to share in this area.
So this could even be taken advantage of by not necessarily festivals, but also just venues that play live music.
Yeah, it could be venues. It could be really any community organization that's front facing, that interacts with the public, that has some kind of experience or an event that's recreational in nature.
Right.
We've worked with museums, restaurants.
Right. That's what I was just going to say. It doesn't necessarily have to be for, like, say, a music concert. It could be
Sure.
for a theater production. It could be for your restaurant example is a good one. Those kind of things where a little bit of knowledge goes a long way.
Yeah.
That training really pays off.
Yeah, it really does. We love to share what we know, and we love to, play a small role in making all different aspects of community experiences more accessible.
Yeah. You can't have too much training and information on topics. So certainly
No,
would be a great one to take advantage of.
yeah. And
Um,
concerts themselves, they're so loud and overwhelming. It feels like if we can make a concert experience accessible, then we can make anything
that's so
accessible.
true. Very true. Consultation, outreach, technology, any of these?
Yeah, that's all kind of all related. The consultation is really similar. Those are the inclusion festival and the ticketing and the consultation and training are our biggest programs in
Sure.
place right now.
And then the outreach, spreading the word, which is kind of what we're doing here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we go to different events. We've been to like expos, and we do that through our online magazine.
Very cool. And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Technology is a fun one. We've been
Mhm.
working with some partners that we're excited about, particularly Subpack has wearable vibrating backpacks that are another way to
Got
experience
it.
live music. So
Sure.
um, we had color blindness correcting glasses at our inclusion
Wow.
festival this
Yep.
summer. We had wheelchair accessible mats. I mean, so like all different kinds of technology. We did have these Subpack wearable backpacks that had a direct line of feed to the music on the stage. We also have wearable adjustable headphones so that you can control the volume.
And I remember I was in college and I went to a Grateful Dead show, and one of the people in the group we were with actually who kind of helped us kind of navigate the whole thing, because Grateful Dead shows were so like overwhelming in and of themselves. Their uncle was deaf, and there was a part of like their following that was this group of people who were called the Deaf Heads, and they would just enjoyed Grateful Dead music, even though they couldn't necessarily hear it, but they actually had, like you were talking about, like either balloons or beach balls or whatever, because then they could feel it through the different like equipment that they brought with them. So that was, pretty cool to watch and be a part
Yeah,
of.
I've heard of that too. That's exactly the same concept. You can totally do it with a balloon or beach ball. The backpacks are really neat as well. They kind of feel like they're giving you a hug, so there's some sensory support there as well as
Got it.
this alternative way to experience the music.
Very cool. Very. And then I wanted to get in here for, like, again, partners, people, other organizations. This is actually even all of the. There's you. Why the hell there? Hi, Amy. And then you mentioned Leah Barron. That's the other person who was the founder of the Inclusion Festival.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then the board of
also
directors is here.
before founded the accessible festivals.
Right. But just again, wanting to get involved with the volunteering, that's here on the site. The donations, like we talked about, that's here on the site. Very easy to do all of that. And then
The other side is if you're one of these organizations, like a festival, we were talking about festivals or a venue or things like that, you can also reach out to them for support and training.
Correct. The different music organizations you're involved with, like some of them are even local here, like an Arts Quest, like you're connected with some of them. So what other, like either them or other organizations that you're specifically connected to, anything you can share there would be pretty cool.
Arts Quest is definitely the most local to you. We love working with Arts Quest. It's been really, really wonderful developing a partnership with them. There they are.
There they are.
We've done an inclusive dinner and a show with them that went really, really well.
Nice.
And there's a video about that on our YouTube channel, which really highlights all the ways that we thought about accessibility in the dining and the music listening experience there. And then we've also, for 2 years in a row, worked with Music Fest, and we've hosted what we call an inclusion zone, so a sensory supportive relaxing space for people to just kind of have respite from that busy and so much fun environment. And that's been really, really successful. After year one, we expanded a little bit what we did, and it's just been so well received. We had an inclusion day at Music Fest where there was many of the acts were interpreted by American Sign Language interpreters, and there was just extra encouragement for people to feel really welcome to come out. But the goal was for people to feel welcome all week, and really everyone could use a place to have a calming break. So that was the message that we were sending.
Yeah, that was very cool. Like you had those zones were there for the entire festival, and then there was this one particular day where there was much more involvement with the ASL interpreters and such. We actually you were able to share with us a couple videos from that, and it's so wonderful to watch these people are all in. Like they're not just standing there interpreting, they're like super involved in the music and dancing and stuff. They're a lot of fun to watch. So we wanted to kind of share those too. So we have two here. They're both from the Baja Men. And so the first song you may not recognize, but the second one you definitely will. But we're going to play both of them here. So the first one is more of a slower song, Every Night and Every Day. And again, we're looking at the crowd kind of swaying back and forth. And then now we're going to zoom in on one of the most... He may be having the most fun of anyone.
Yeah, it's a special talent to be able to interpret music, especially the way that he does.
And I gotta think, if this is helping you enjoy the show that much more, I just gotta think it's so special for that person in the crowd that can now pick this up in a way that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just got to think of the training that you've got to go through. Other than the talent, there's a training factor that is beyond just the ability to sign. You know, you're interpreting, and I think it's really so clever.
And there's got to be so much like just research and like they have to know what songs are coming and what words are coming. They can't just do that in the moment. So some special people doing this stuff. And that one was very cool to watch, but this other one is even better because everyone's going to know this song as soon as I hit the play button. If you didn't know who the Baja Men were before, you're going to now. I do like the dog moment because he pants like a dog. It's very funny. He even tries to match the dancing of the people on stage with their movements. It's really... And there were more, like it wasn't just him. There were plenty of other people interpreting that day because it was on that stage all day, right?
Yes.
And David, I don't know if whoever had Who Let the Dogs Out being played on this show on their bingo card just hit jackpot right there.
Yeah, I think that one you win. It's like sort of the big prize.
We always joke about that. There's going to be like little very random references that'll be on a bingo card, and then once you get them across, you win something. We don't know what that is, but we weren't thinking we'd ever play Who Let the Dogs Out. But so worth it right there. But yeah, so like I was saying, we just happened to have the same person twice because that was what was available. But there was people doing that all day, and I'm sure they even take breaks in and of the same show because
they do.
Yeah. It's just too much.
It takes a lot of preparation and a lot of teamwork to do a really great job with music.
Yeah. So I mean, shout out to obviously everyone who was involved. So like not just those sign language interpreters for all the work that they did and the dedication there, but throughout all these other things that we've been talking about too. Like, and it's not just Music Fest that it happened at. It's at all these other festivals and all these other inclusionary kind of zones that are being created throughout. So what else can we promote? What else can we talk about, to kind of, again, get people more engaged in some way? Or again, if there's anybody out there who is either aware of a loved one or somebody who would be able to take advantage of this, what else can we help kind of promote in addition to either the websites or other events that are coming up?
Well, our Inclusion Festival will be coming up not until next summer, but for now, we'll be focusing on our training and our consultation programs, expanding that over the winter when, a lot of promoters and creators have time to plan and get ready for the busy festival season. And donating is so helpful to us. Yep. Giving Tuesdays coming up, choosing accessible festivals would mean so much to us. Specifically, we have a ticket gift fund that's accessible through both websites, but you can track it and see how we're doing. We raise as much money as we can for Inclusion Festival specifically, and then we grant out as many free tickets as possible. And the dream is to make that festival completely free to attendees. We're not there yet, but each year we've been able to grant all of the requests that we've received for free tickets and been able to grow that program.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's a great idea. Yeah, for Giving Tuesday. We'll definitely kind of promote that, especially since it's like right within this, because obviously the YouTube version is happening right now. The podcast will go out on Thursday. But come Giving Tuesday, we'll remind everybody how important it is to give into organizations like this one.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, if you love music, this is a great way to help other people access it, and you know the joy for yourself. So it's a way to share that joy with others who, like you said in the beginning of the show, have additional needs and considerations in order to get there.
Absolutely. Well, Amy, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me
and sharing, your story and the story of the Inclusion Festival and accessible festivals. These are, again, wonderful things for us to be, all the more supportive of, the more we learn about them.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amy. David?
Philip?
Here we go again, just continuing to enjoy the ride of music and all that it brings us. And now we kind of have a new facet to this whole thing with learning about some of these just incredible people in the nonprofits that they are a part of.
It is a massive amount of energy and work that goes into making all of that happen that people don't realize. And it's nice to shine some light on some of that, to bring attention to that and make people aware. As mentioned, now is the time where the planning is starting to happen for next year. And now's the time to start making those connections so that it's built in from the ground up instead of it being a secondary thought. And that's a wonderful way to approach it. It's baked right in.
Yep. And reach out for the training. I mean, like that could be where it's a win-win.
That's what I'm thinking about. Right.
Yeah.
As a starting point, like that's even a starting point for your organization or your festival. And then it is, depending on your scale and your funding and all those other things that are the complexity of putting this together, is thinking about what you could include that would make it a broader, better reaching experience.
Yep, absolutely. And whatever we all can give, like there was, if it's funds, fantastic. If you don't have that and you can give your time, awesome. If you can just simply make someone feel more welcome the next time you're at a festival, then that's good. That's great too. So like I said before, we're talking about words here like equity and safety and such, like
inclusion.
Inclusion.
Kind of those simple words. I mean, it's a word that really means a lot to people that sometimes are really kept not in the center of the attention. There's no reason they shouldn't be in having the same experience as far as the quality of it that you and I are having.
Yeah, I think the long-term goal would be to make it normalized, where like it's not where it's something different. It's just simply part of the festival. Is correct that it's embracing the needs of all possible festival goers. So anyway, let's make that happen. Let's make that our goal.
Let's wish. What did you use the phrase? You're going to wish it out into the universe. Let's do that.
Wish cast it.
The wish cast.
Let's wish cast that into the universe and make that come true. So, anyway, if you haven't voted, you have about 50 minutes in the state of Pennsylvania. And if you're listening to this in other time zones, you got plenty of time. Get out there and vote, and donate to accessible festivals and the Inclusion Festival.
All right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.
Episode of Your Next Favorite Nonprofit. We would like to sincerely thank Amy Pinder, Executive Director of Accessible Festivals and the co-founder of the Inclusion Festival. We'll make sure that we kind of link to all of these websites and the various different ways that you can get in contact, as well as some of the either news articles or different types of features that have been done for them. There's some in the Forbes magazine, and there's some on some of the local news stations here or what have you. But this way you can kind of get a little bit more of a sense of everything they're doing. But wonderful, wonderful people, tremendous dedication, and certainly should be celebrated and supported in whatever ways we can. As always, our hope here is to bring you your next favorite band. So hopefully you enjoy these changes and things where we're also going to feature some of these other, again, music adjacent organizations or individuals who are either supportive or do their own thing in the music industry. And we hope that you like that diversity so that you like and subscribe and follow us and want to check out future episodes. So bottom line is we have some great stuff coming up here at the end of the year and into the new. And I hope to see you at a live show soon.
It's all over now.